Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 30 of the Noclip podcast. The new look, new sounding, new content. I don't know. Noclip podcast. I'm your host, Daniel O'Dwyer. It's my official name on my passport. Jeremy, what is your official name on your passport?
Jeremiah B. Johnson Jane.
That's a lie.
It's just Jeremy Jane.
I have booked lots of flights for you over the years when you were filming our documentaries, and that is not yours. But I'm going to put that down next time. Next time we fly in 2023.
I'm sure the TSA will not mind.
Also joined by Noclip community czar, Frank Howley. What is your name on your passport? What's your full name?
My full name is Frank Philip Howley.
Okay.
But I never use the middle name, so it's just Frank Howley, a very strong, all caps. Frank Howley is on the passport.
It's a strong, wait, your passport's in all caps. That's what I've just heard.
Yeah, no one's ever going to see it again. It's never going to.
Sir, is this a real passport?
Yes. I printed off in Minecraft.
Okay, yeah. Your photograph appears to be Neo from The Matrix.
Photoshop has everything. Hey everyone, I'm Frank Howley, community manager and gameplay capture.
Man of many hats.
Yeah, do it all. It's very exciting to be here. Hey.
If you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, you can see our wonderful backgrounds, which is probably spoilers for what we're going to talk about today. If you're not a patron, you missed episode 29, the quarantine catch up, which is kind of when the three of us got together and did this for the first time. Because we've sort of used this podcast traditionally to interview devs and do bits and bobs. And honestly, life is hard right now and work is timely and it's just too hard to wrangle people. And it's kind of hard. Like, I think with the quarantine, some PR folks are being a little bit more hands-on with sort of chatting to people because they don't want to put out the wrong message or something. So we decided to change it up and just kind of do a catch up, because also I miss talking to Jeremy every day at the studio. And also, Frank, I miss talking to you.
Yeah, we got to get our physical social surrogate fix in lieu of actual human contact.
So we've decided to set this up in a slightly different way to a lot of gaming podcasts, because you don't want to just do another news thing. Also, I think there's going to be no news for like a year.
Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of feel that way? Like, the only news we're going to have is, this game is coming out later.
Yeah.
Or this game got leaked.
Although Jeff Keighley is doing his like summer season of announcements thing, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like E3 over the course of 4 months. It sounds like a nightmare.
When you put it that way, it does sound like a nightmare. So many ham sandwiches.
It's 4 months of gamer Christmas all summer long. I think that's the perfect solution. I'm in. Yes.
That should be the subtitle. 4 months of gamer Christmas all summer long.
Frank, they should have got you on the optics for this.
Dude, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, you're an idea man.
Yeah.
So I think it's all kicking off with Microsoft tomorrow. We're recording this on Wednesday. I think I'm going to put these up on Fridays because they feel like a kind of a weekend thing. So they're going to show off a bunch of, I guess, games for the Xbox One X and stuff like that. So yeah, it's weird. We're kind of entering E3 season, I guess, tomorrow. We're mostly here to talk about a topic. We've decided to pick a different topic every single week, a cheat code, we're going to call it. Since Noclip is a cheat code, we're going to punch in a cheat code at the end of each podcast, and the next week we're going to talk about it. And we can talk about it pretty broadly. It's going to be in relation to games, in relation to film. Obviously, we're all, we work in filmmaking in some respect, and we all enjoy film in terms of life, in terms of anything, just anything we can sort of pull in. And the idea is to kind of make this podcast a bit of a creative melting pot between like games and film and sort of the processes that we have. And also just like a general catch up as well. We want the community to be involved as much as possible. So we put some feelers out to our community on Patreon and on our Discord to get some feedback from them, which we'll go through in a little while. But we want to invite the rest of you as well. If you're a podcast subscriber over on YouTube, or you're a subscriber, on your podcast machine, to send us emails, podcast at noclip.video, or if you're on the Discord, send us stuff. By the end of this episode, we will have picked a new cheat code for next week. But the cheat code that we picked for this week, what is it, Frank?
Travel.
Which at the time I went in one direction, but it's interesting to see everyone go in totally different directions with this. It's like it's a good example of sort of when you have, I don't know, such a broad constraint, it's like allows people to go in lots of different ways. Frank, I want to start with yours, but first of all, I kind of want to let's just touch on the general sort of themes we've gone with. Our backgrounds here on this Zoom call on the video version will kind of give it away. Ours might be given away, me and Frank, but Jeremy, I want to know, what's your background? Is that anything to do with your...
Kind of. Mine is an old Reddit post by an electronic music producer named EPROM, where he explains how to make the bass synth for like the 808s and bass for a couple of his songs. He's like
nice.
A very, very treasured, talented producer. And it was just something I had on my desktop, and I thought it would be funny. Did not realize it would be backwards, but hope it is not distracting anyone.
Oh, it's backwards for you, but I don't think it is for us.
Oh, well, even better. Then everyone can read half of the secrets on how to make a sick 808.
Oh, that's wild why they do that. I guess I understand that, because if you've got a confidence monitor, you want to be able to see the mirror. If you're sitting in front of a webcam, you want to see the mirror version of you, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
If I put my right hand up... Yeah, so I guess that's odd. So I must, So I'm holding up my right hand, but for you guys, it's the other side. That's weird.
Interesting. It's like looking through a strange digital two-way mirror.
This is really playing well for the audio audience for this, which is, by the way, like 80 times bigger than the video version audience. But hopefully we'll drag people over to the video version with some of these neat tricks. Okay, so that's nothing to do with yours. So we're gonna keep you in the pocket, Jeremy, because yours I like. Yours is sort of a lot about mindset and stuff. Mine is about World of Warcraft. I went on a sort of weird pilgrimage, and it kind of didn't go the way I planned, but also went in the exact way I would have thought it would have gone had it not gone to plan, which it did. So I'll talk to you about that. But Frank, first of all, let's go with you. Travel.
Yes.
I see what looks like Akihabara behind you.
Yeah, so I'm coming here from the streets of Yakuza 0. So this is 80s Tokyo and Osaka, mainly right outside the Sega arcade. I just got done setting the high score in Space Harrier and Outrun. Quarantine period has definitely freed up a lot of time, and Yakuza 0 has always been the one, like, whenever I get to it, I know I'll love it. Just not gonna have enough time to play like a 60-hour JRPG. All of a sudden, the opportunity presented itself, but specifically because of the background, like, yeah, it is Tokyo and Osaka. It's Japan, so it really does get, like, I've never been to Japan physically, but through millions of games, anime, like the otaku way that I've definitely been, But so it felt so cool to finally, like, all right, let's play Yakuza 0, and it's such a blast playing it because it's. I think it's a Sega game. It's a Japanese game. There's so many details of just being in Tokyo or Osaka. Like, there's convenience stores, and inside the convenience stores, you can look at all the magazines, and you can see manga magazine, film magazines. There's restaurants. I mean, all different types, but like every element, like, I'm not even talking about all the gangster stuff. It's just being able to walk around the streets, and all the delicate details are around is so charming that, like, and there is a first person camera mode, so I am able to just like. Let the camera sit. Yeah, let the camera sit and see people walking by, see the music, see the like hear the music, see the chimes of just everything sparkling in the streets, and it's like it's amazing. It really is an amazing escape. I play like an hour a day, usually in the morning, sometime at night, sometimes in the middle of the night, like whenever, anytime I have a free moment. And
this
it's
is
amazing.
The one that's set in the 80s, right? Because all the other ones are kind of more contemporary.
Yeah, and it's my first Yakuza, so now I'm already thinking, like, okay, how's all this place going to look different when I play the contemporary ones? But yeah, I've yet to gone to Japan. Like, that's kind of like the one, if I like travel anywhere in the world that I haven't been yet, it would be Japan. I feel like that's, for so many gamers, that is like, oh my gosh, we got to go.
Yeah, we were lucky. We went for the Final Fantasy documentary. We were there for, how long were we there, Jeremy?
I think it was like 4. I think we left on the 5th day. It was like under 5.
We left during we arrived during a lightning storm. I remember flying in, and the lightning was super intense. And I was actually playing Breath of the Wild on my Switch, and I was, whatever boss it is that has the lightning in it, I think it's the one in the desert.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that one I was playing. So I was sort of having a haptic Breath of the Wild experience to get
Too
over
immersive.
flight anxiety. Yeah. What are some of the things that you remember from Japan, and we can sort of relay that to Frank and see if it's in it?
Delicious bread for making the everyday better. Danny and I were in this convenience store, and we were just like, one of the best things is things that have English text on them that's not quite properly translated. And one of the best ones was just like a little sweet roll, and I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was something like delicious bread for making the everyday better. And I just wish every product was labeled long-windedly like that.
It was so wholesome. It was
also Beard Papa, which I guess that exists in San Francisco, but I had never had it. But Danny and I had an alcoholic beverage or two, and then on the way back, got a bunch of Beard Papa cream soda, and could not stop laughing about this brand that was just like an old man with a beard, and his name was Beard Papa.
Yeah, and it had the like stuff, small things like the combinations of colors on branding, which you'd never. I think Beard Papa was like yellow and dark blue or something.
Yeah.
It was so, yeah. Or like Pocari Sweat, like all of these. It's just I'd never been somewhere where I felt like, oh, this is like super foreign, but also like hyper westernized, or like hyper futuristic, not Western, but contemporary, I guess, or post contemporary. It felt like it was the future.
It also just like decontextualizes everything, where like when you walk into a 7-Eleven in your local corner store, you go in and you see like Snickers and Butterfingers and all these things. They're just kind of like background things, like your brain just doesn't even process them. It's sort of happening in the background. But when every brand is like Beard Papa and like, you know, like when they're things you're not used to, but they're products that you might recognize, like bread and candy and stuff, it makes your brain do a double take and be like, the hell is delicious bread for making the everyday better? And it just like it draws you into the minutia of experience in a way that's very like, I hate to use the word immersive for like a real life experience, because it sounds like I'm getting into like cyberpunk, like losing myself and everything as a video game. But
it's
RL.
like, yeah.
Yeah. In IRL, when you're playing IRL, it gets very immersive sometimes.
It's wild that you both went towards convenience stores for the thing that was, but I guess it makes sense because it's like such a
it's
homogenous thing or something.
I know, like, not only just through my own experience, but every like 90s teen movie ever, but like we all know what the inside of like a 7-Eleven looks like at least as Americans, or at least for me. And then seeing a convenience store and like even a Japanese video game, it's like that's the thing I always look at, like even when I go to like Little Tokyo or San Francisco's Little Tokyo, like just the different stuff they stock really jumps out. But speaking to like the color and the neon stuff, is the Yakuza 0, like, because it's also the late 80s, everything is just overwhelming these rad 80s neon lights. And similar, like I think it's in Osaka that has the bridge with the dude running, and like there's in Yakuza 0 you can stand where the bridge is and just see this beautiful river illuminated by all these lights. It's really awesome. And it reminds me also when I played Persona 5 for like a few years ago, and it was the same experience of like, oh, it's a JRPG, it's combat and story. The fun of it is all the side stuff, really exploring the streets, really experiencing like Japanese culture. And then with Persona, it's like a Japanese high school, so all the ways that their schools are different and similar. It's right. Like it's radically different, but in a very charming way. And it's always so fun to like lose myself in those games and in those worlds, even though they mimic real life, but it's a different life than I'm used to.
It's funny that I feel like you're illuminating in my brain that like that's why one of the reasons that the new Animal Crossing is having such a boom right now is because it's one of those place games where it's like it's not a game where it's like, oh, and then I'll like kill Tom Nook and this town will be mine. Like you're just kind of like going there to exist. Yeah, I mean DLC Nintendo, if you're listening, let's get it. But there's more of a place now than ever for games where you're just going and immersing yourself in a place, and it doesn't necessarily need to be goal oriented or object oriented, which is cool because like traditionally if someone describes the idea of a game to you, like the idea of a game is something where you go in and there are stakes and you play within a certain set of rules and you try to emerge victorious or like achieve something. And so it's cool that games I think more people are appreciating now that games can just be like a virtual simulation of just immersing yourself in a place. You don't need to like do something.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a recognition that they were kind of always that, maybe, to a certain extent. And we're just kind of like, now that a lot of people are sort of like choking for outside time or escapism, like actual escapism, it's sort of like filling that void, and it's way more apparent than ever before.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Animal Crossing's like PR couldn't have timed it any better, because like the whole thing was about go on an island adventure, and it's like, well, no one's doing that for a while, unless they're. Do you see that Vice video with all the folks that are at this? Did you see this? It's like they're at like the world's most annoying like self. I don't know, just like a retreat, but for like rich ass hippies, where they're like, on some island, and the indigenous people are trying to show them their like way of life, but it, like the whole thing is just like a big sex festival. Basically, it's like Burning Man, but for Burning Man, but only the shitheads are there, kind of. Like,
oh my god!
But all these people got stuck there when all the COVID-19 stuff happened, and it's the wildest thing, because like you're watching this and like I feel empathy for them because I'm sorry that they're there, but all of them just look like the most insufferable people I've ever. Did you see this, Frank?
I saw just the headline that a bunch of people were stuck somewhere in Peru, and it, like in my head it's like, oh, this is like Fire Fest all over again. But there's so much stuff that scrolls through my feed that's like, oh, okay, I'll just stay out of this one.
That's amazing. That sounds like that's like a simulated like purgatory for those people. It's like
totally
like I can't imagine a better designed like metaphysical prison for those people.
Totally. And it's like all the capitalism is like burning to the surface, where they're all like trying to pay their way out, and like a lot of other people couldn't afford to, and it's just like the whole thing just it feels super. And then some of them are just like, no, I'm gonna stay. Like someone have just stayed, and they're just gonna stay there for a while. But yeah, it was like one of the organizers was there and saying like, if any of you touch my food, I'll kill you. But we're gonna and I like it's gonna cost this much to buy the food. Like it was just you should check it out. Vice's stuff is pretty hit or miss. But
we're all one until this beef jerky starts going.
Exactly, we're all one, and then we are each individually one.
Yeah,
madness. So can I tell you about my pilgrimage?
Please.
Of sorts. So I decided. I'm a big fan of just like kind of what Frank was saying, that whole go out into the world, make my own kind of role play a little bit in games. And my experience with World of Warcraft was very much like a solo thing that I did. I didn't take it too seriously. I didn't do a lot of like raiding. I mostly just kind of like explored the world and made multiple characters and slowly like did quests, but mostly just kind of like enjoyed the lore and walked around and stuff. I found that whole thing fascinating, interacting with people and stuff. So what I decided to do was I started WoW Classic back when it launched, and I played maybe a week or two. I think I had like 12 hours on there by the time I started this one. And I had made a remake of my original character, Fugani, who's this like little dwarf paladin. But the one I have in WoW Classic now is only like level 11, I guess, which, takes about 5 times as much long as it does today if you play World of Warcraft to get to level 11 in like 2 hours. So what I decided to do was basically like track my sort of where I started in WoW and go to where I kind of ended, which was in like Tanaris, which is in the south of Kalimdor. It's a sort of deserty area.
I hear it's very nice there this time of year.
It's nicer. Yeah, it's nicer now because Cataclysm, when that expansion pack came in, basically like made it way more agricultural because a bunch of water came in from Thousand Needles. But I wanted to play like the old original sort of WoW. And I didn't want to play anything necessarily. So what I did was I just got my character back to where you start, which is Coldridge Valley, with the dwarves and yeah, Frank's nodding. Have you played Alliance in World of Warcraft? Well,
yeah, 1 through 6. Oh yeah. So
yeah, I also only played Alliance.
Awesome. I'm still a part of Frank's guild as well. Big Dog. So I got the message, the daily message when I popped in.
What was that?
I forget what it was. It was something like wash your hands or.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jeremy, what race did you play as?
That's a very personal question. No, I played as human. Shout out Elwyn Forest.
Cool.
Yeah, I Lakeshire is my most like prominent emotional memories of World of Warcraft.
It's funny. So what I did was I actually got Lakeshire mixed up with Loch Moden because what I ended up doing was playing with no map, and I even turned off the mini map, and I was just going to try and eyeball my way and I don't have a mount because he's only level 11, and I wasn't going to take any griffins unless like I needed to. Like there's no way I'm getting to Stormwind from Ironforge by walking as a level 11 through the fucking burning steeps. Like it's never gonna happen. So for that, I ended up doing a slash roll to see if I take the tram or take a griffin. But the idea of this thing was basically just like, I don't know how long it'll take me. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm gonna try and walk there and not use a map and just try and remember this place. And it was the most fun. So I've recorded the whole thing and it's all up on my YouTube channel as well. I put it up just before we went live, and it was so stupid. I did not understand how underleveled I was for some of those areas. The one I was kind of worried about the most, is there anything that's like popping up to you that you think might be? So I'll tell you the route that I had in my head, which was I would start in Coldridge Valley, go to Ironforge, no, nothing crazy there, take a griffin to Stormwind, and then I'd kind of loop around a bit there so I could see some stuff. So go to Lakeshire, that's east of Elwyn Forest, right?
It's
there.
Lakeshire's east, yes, in Redbridge.
Is that the one with the? That's the one that has the dam.
That's when you go. So I think
that's
dam
Lochmoden.
Yeah, that's north of Ironforge.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I got this confused last time as well. So sorry. So Red Ridge Mountains or whatever is in Lakeshire. Yeah. So I kind of dip in there. Then I'd go through Duskwood to Westfall, and then go to Stranglethorn Vale. I thought would probably be there, and then take the boat from Stranglethorn to. I don't. Is it? It's
the Baron's like port. It's the port in Riverdale or something.
Duratar, is that what it's called? No, that's the Orc town. So whatever, and then walk down the Barrens. And then I kind of forgot what was there. I think it was Thousand Needles, and then you hit Tanaris, right? Which I guess the Shimmering Flats was there, but I totally forgot about that. So what is the part that you think is the one that's going to cause me the most trouble?
I feel like Duskwood has some gnarly spiders. Stranglethorn Vale is the killing grounds. Like, we're not even on a PvP server. The Horde will still find a way to kill you in Stranglethorn. The gorillas will come out. The pirates. So anything that can go wrong will go wrong in Stranglethorn. Your internet might get disconnected. So I would assume Stranglethorn Vale is where your character died and you did not make it to your destination. That's my expectations.
Okay, Jeremy, what do you think?
I think that the fact that you're not on a PvP server throws me a little bit. But
I actually am on a PvP server.
So my knee-jerk reaction is that you got to Barrens.
Are we not on a PvP server?
We did PvE because I wanted to avoid.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Now this has reframed some of it in my head. But sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
I'm gonna still go with my knee-jerk answer, and what I initially thought was that you would get to Barrens, which for the uninitiated is a low-level horde area, but also a notoriously
it's the Chuck Norris chat room.
Yeah, Barrens chat is like a notoriously awful place. So I'm gonna say you got to Barrens, and within 10 seconds, someone killed you and said "keck" over your body.
Oh my god. Okay, can I tell you what happened? Okay, this is interesting because I had a couple of run-ins with PvP people who ended up being really nice to me, Horde people, and I thought they were just being nice, but now that I realize that it was PvE, it wasn't PvP. I'm like, they were still being nice, but anyway. Okay, so I didn't realize how much trouble I would have getting through Duskwood. I thought Stranglethorn was the place I was going to be in trouble with, right? So I ended up, everything was fine. I went to Lakeshire for a second, realized I was actually way under level for that, and kind of just popped my head in and then left, and tried to go in from the east of Duskwood, which is where a lot of wolves and spiders are once you cross that bridge, right? Could not get, I was pulling these mobs from miles away. They were just smelling my beautiful dwarf level 11 armpits and coming from everywhere to get me. So what I ended up doing was I walked back around through Westfall, walked down through Westfall, which made more sense anyway because I didn't realize that the exit to Stranglethorn was actually in the south of Duskwood, so I would have had to have gone back in anyway. I took the road that Stitches is on, never ran into him, but it was easier. They weren't getting pulled. Some spiders were coming, but not too many. I think I died once only there. And then I got into Stranglethorn, and fuck me. So I'm like, I think Stranglethorn is like level, it's not even that high. It's like 25 to 30 or something, right? Maybe not even. It's something like that.
Around there.
So the problem was there's mobs everywhere there. There's friggin' crocodiles, there's gorillas, there's raptors, there's lions. They're on the path. They're just off the path. Like one of them gets pulled and you walk 2 feet the other way and then another 2 come. So it was a nightmare. So what I had this idea after I was just dying so much, and I was trying to basically like hop, skip, and jump. So I'd res as far from my body in the direction of Booty Bay as possible, res, and then just run and then die. But the problem was if you keep dying over and over again, the cooldown, at least back then, I think this is a WoW Classic thing only, it gets to like where you have to wait 2 minutes to resurrect. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is going to take too long. So I had this idea, right? Next time I died, I'm going to run to Booty Bay as a ghost. And I'm going to try and find the cemetery there, which I kind of remembered where it was. It was outside the entrance. And I'll res there. And then I'll be able to go in. So I ran to Booty Bay, which is really, really far. I forgot how long Strangled Thornvale is. So I think it took me 16, 17 minutes of just like running as a ghost. And I eventually find it. It's like empty and weird looking because it's like it's unloaded and like nobody's there and all this shit. And then I find the cemetery. I'm like so happy. And I right click and I res back at the other cemetery.
Oh my God. That's punishing.
Awful. So I've totally run out of ideas. I tried the main road for a while. I tried off the road. Couldn't do it. But I was like, there is a second boat to Kalimdor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember where it is?
It's in like the Horde camp, isn't it?
It's in the wetlands.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Just north of Ironforge.
Yeah.
So I heartstoned back to, I forget where I was. I think it was Goldshire. I go back up to Stormwind, take a griffin. I ended up taking it to Loch Moden because I had that flight path and I was just like, fuck it. Like I was going to go to Ironforge and walk. I clicked on it and hadn't thought about it and I went, oh, whatever, I'll walk from there. So I hadn't gone anywhere in the wetlands. I hadn't discovered any of that in this character. So I walked to the wetlands, I find my way there. Not so hard, pulled some mobs. I was able to do my Paladin bubble shield, which wasn't very powerful at that stage. It was like only lasted for like 3 or 4 seconds or something, but it was enough to kind of shake off some spiders and shit. I ended up stopping at the wrong boat stop with a bunch of level 60 guys. And then as they're getting on, I whisper one of them, I'm like, wait, is this the one that goes to Callum where I thought? And he said, no, take the other one. It goes to Theramore Isle. And I was like, oh, that's not where I was. Well, I kind of got confused and I thought, is that where the Baron's town is? So I ended up going there. I get out. Theramore Isle, of course, is the Night Elf. The Night Elf like castle, which is like, or is it Night Elf? It's an Alliance castle.
Yeah, Darnassus, yeah.
Oh no, is it by Darnassus? It's on the eastern side.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is. Is that the one?
It's Teldrassil, Ashevale. Oh my god. The problem is when the guy messaged me, he said, yeah, you can go there. And then he called it like the nightmare run to the Barrens. And I kind of didn't recognize what he was saying, but I forgot. Is it Duskwood Marsh? Yes. There's an Alliance port there. Yep.
So that's where I was. So I had to run as a level 11. So they were all just like elite skulls, basically. Yeah. Every single mob was like level 58 or 40 or something. Too high for me to even recognize what they were. And at the start, it was basically Strangled Thornvale again. But the distance to cover was way less. So I ended up making it through it. I didn't die that many times, actually, in the end. And then found my way to the Barrens. Went to Thousand Needles. Couldn't figure out how to get on the elevator because... like there's 2 like cow dudes. What are they? The Taurens.
There's 2 Tauren guards. Yeah.
So I ended up trying to like get past them. I bubble shielded, then tried to make a run for it when the elevator was coming up. And then they hit me and I was like, fuck this, I'm jumping. I'll just spawn down there. So I jumped, died, spawned in the cemetery down there, made my way through and kind of avoided some of that's where all my PvP stuff. I won't get into too much detail. You can watch the video if you want to. But ended up getting through Shimmering Flats and arriving at a gadget stand. About 2 hours and 40 minutes in total.
Wow.
It took. And it was so much fun. It was a really interesting way to view that world with no map. So I was constantly just looking around. And it had that feeling of, when you visit like your hometown and like, oh, I haven't seen that in a while, but I know this intersection. Like I have to go here. This is the way and this is south. I just kind of know where south is because I've spent so much time in this place, It was it was really wild. It was a lot of fun.
It's a real Homer's Odyssey, man.
I feel like I should do it as a higher character and then go places I've never been, like try and run to the Undercity or something.
Yeah, back in the day, we used to do like raids on the Undercity, even though there's no like PvP system in place for you to take over the capital cities. But we'd be like, yeah, let's like get a bunch of dudes together and we'll go show them what's up. It's like, it's fun though. Like that was part of the fun of World of Warcraft for me was games with a social element invite experimentation in the actual format of the gameplay. And so because, you were like that's not what you're supposed to do in World of Warcraft, but the anytime that thought emerges, it's like you're probably doing the right thing to have the most fun with that experience.
Yeah, it was fun to see like people react. Like a lot of people everyone was buffing me as I was walking past. Good. A lot of waves from Horde people. Yeah, just like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, I feel like especially now, if people are playing WoW Classic, they love the game. They have a sense of humor about the game. Like I feel like people are going to respect the novelty, and I feel like there's definitely like a higher level of respect with like on the classic stuff. Or even if you just play WoW today, I think it's much more dedicated. So I think if anyone's on level 11 dwarf, just even play the game. It's like, oh, you're on WoW Classic. Good luck, kid. You got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's like if you're in the middle of the outback desert and you saw like a 6-year-old just walking in tennis shoes. You'd be like, respect, man. I don't know how you got here. I don't know where you're going, but respect.
Exactly. Actually, it was when it was in Shimmering Flats. A lot of people were like, where are you even going? Like, there's nowhere south of here that's like easier. Like,
buddy, you're supposed to turn your quest back in Stormwind. I don't know.
Yeah, so I ended up getting to Tanaris and like finding the flight path, and then I clicked on the flight path to like see if I could fly anywhere, and they were like, "You've no flight paths other than this flight path. Like, what are you doing? Where the fuck else are you gonna go?" I'm trying to think. I guess where should I go? Oh, I should have gotten the flight path of Theramore, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I
didn't even think about it. I'll just have to Hearthstone back to Goldshire with all my equipment.
Dude, I had to do the Gadget Zan run even as like a level 30 and it sucked. Like that's never fun. Like even at 30 it was miserable. Oh yeah. I died a few times and then I made it and then I got to the end and I always end up logging off in frustration after like, all right, I need a break from this. I'm done.
Yeah, it's bad. It was fun to like not have I don't know, when it's your own objective, it's a little bit, I don't know, it feels more personal and you kind of have more drive to do it. But the actual video itself and the experience of it was very much a self-reflective kind of, I was basically just vibing off of this is what it's like going on a road trip. Like for me, it's just like thinking about shit. And I was just like shooting it, like just talking about everything, like mental health and Noclip and like just lots of what was on the top of my mind, my anxieties and just remembering the game. And yeah, so if you want to watch me blabber for 2 hours and 40 odd minutes or something.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Although now I've spoiled the ending.
Man.
You
It's
can
not
go
about
to
the destination,
YouTube.
buddy.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing.
It's about
that's
the journey.
totally it. YouTube.com/Danny O'Dwyer. You can check
Oh
that
my
out.
God, that sounds amazing.
It's funny too because it reminds me of like the mentality of a road trip is never like, yeah, and then we're gonna get there and it's good. That's what it's all about. It's about like, yeah, let's like hop in the car for 16 hours and listen to all of our favorite songs from the early 2000s and like talk about life. And so it's funny that your like self-imposed objective it's basically the same as a road trip. It's like, yeah, let's go somewhere like arbitrary and cool for an experience that we'll have along the way.
Yeah, the Shimmering Flats was very much like the driving to LA experience of, like just desert for forever.
That's Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Bakersfield is that little, what's that? There's like the little racetrack in the Shimmering Flats.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah,
that's the Hyundai test track that's in the desert down there.
There's a subway and a gas station, and that's it.
I've blabbered enough. Jeremy, tell us what came to mind when we thought about travel.
So I've been first of all, I think it's a hilariously ironic theme for a bunch of gentlemen who are stuck inside all the time.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, I had a good laugh when travel was suggested. it's made me think a lot about why we actually travel and what value it provides. Like me personally, I can only speak from my own experience, but just generally kind of trying to think about travel and what it does for us. And I was picturing myself like I don't really go to like hotels or do like hotel vacations. It's been a very long time since I've done something like that. But like that's sort of my idea of like the archetypical travel experience is like go to a place, like a beautiful place, whether it's like tropical or a place with cool architecture or history or whatever it is, but you're going somewhere that completely takes you out of your normal everyday patterns and context and habits and stuff. And you're doing these novel experiences, whether that's going in a pool or going on tours, trying different types of food, all these things. But what it boils down to is essentially you're taking yourself out of your normal context and you're placing yourself somewhere else. And the effect that has is to sort of transform your mindset about everything you do. And so all of a sudden, like you're going to the restaurant at your hotel or whatever and having oatmeal, and it might be the exact same oatmeal that you have every single day of your life. It could be the same brand of like oats or whatever, but for some reason, like it tastes better, the experience is better, you're more present for it, like you feel happier, and that's really interesting to me because it's like, to what level can you achieve that without having to get on a plane and go somewhere tropical and eat the same oats in a different place? Like, and so what I've been trying to do is become more aware of my mindset surrounding things in my everyday life and trying to become more like metacognitively aware of how I view these things. And so I also think it's this weird thing where because we can't go places that we want to go, like I'd love to just go camping for weeks at a time. That'd be really cool.
Like, in fairness, that's not like you just saying it because now you can't, but like you genuinely you have an RV and you go on road trips. Like I feel like at least once or twice a month.
Totally. So that's like what I do. Like that's if someone asked me what my favorite pastime was, I would say making music and going places in my RV and just like sitting in a lawn chair in the desert. But it's interesting because like, it almost, this has made me realize that I'm sort of like not dependent or like addicted to those experiences, but they're definitely these high watermarks in my life where I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to we'll do this thing and then we'll like do this shoot and we'll do this project and then I'll wrap on that. And then that's when it starts. That's when life begins. And and that's not like I don't think consciously that way, but I think that's just sort of this mindset that a lot of people have where it's like, oh, I'll do this until I get to the thing and then I get like the prize.
Yeah.
And I think that this experience has really made me sort of like put the onus on myself to not to see everything as the prize, because that's a weird like platitudinous way to put it, but to just like going on a walk in my neighborhood has become this really nice ritual where like I've seen so many parts of my neighborhood that are like 100 feet from my front doorstep, but I'm like, oh, that there's like a house shaped like a fish in my neighborhood.
Really?
And I didn't know that. Like it's really weird. So I was walking by that and I was like, has that always been there? And then I'm like, well, yeah, of course, because no one built like a house shaped like a fish in the middle of a quarantine. And it's really interesting. So it's like this idea of travel it's this word that we very much associate with physical travel, but I think that there is this transportative, if that's a word, this transportational effect to hobbies we have, to different activities we do, to like even like exercising, because it changes your mindset. And I think travel at the end of the day isn't about changing your location, it's about changing your mindset. And I think changing your location is a very powerful method for changing your mindset. So like a parallel example to that is I mentioned on the last podcast we did that I've been watching a lot of live music events that people have been streaming. And so I have a really good friend from Boston who's like one of my best friends in the world. And we talk most days like via text or whatever. But we've been doing this. There's this weekly music event that has really good lineups every week of like bass music that we both really enjoy. So what we've been doing is coordinating where I'll like text him or he'll text me 5 minutes before it starts. And then it's like being at a show together where we're just like in our own rooms, but it's like we're seeing some of our favorite DJs in the world play these amazing sets, and we're like texting throughout the whole thing. We're like, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe like what's this song? Like, oh my God, this sounds like that thing, or like, oh my God, this is like a new remix of that song, or this is unreleased, and it feels just like being at a show with my buddy. But it's also illuminated this weird added effect of I often see these show flyers for music events happening in places that I don't live. And I'm like, oh, if only I was in LA, I could go to this every week. Or if only I was in Georgia, I could catch that show this weekend. But now everyone in the entire world can go to every show because every show is location agnostic. And then that thought extended to well, like, what if I wasn't physically able to go to all these concerts I want to go to? Like, even if it's right down the street,
Right.
not every venue is like handicap accessible or has like really good accessibility or ramps or whatever. And so like we've entered into this we've gone through the like cyberpunk horizon into this place where like everyone can go. It's like open sourced shows to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what your body is capable of, where you live, like whatever. It doesn't matter if you're like a 90-year-old grandfather who doesn't listen to drum and bass. You can go to like a drum and bass show and like throw down in your bedroom and dance and do whatever. And also like, I don't know, like I feel self-conscious dancing sometimes, which is weird because I just love music. And like, I'm like dancing alone in my room.
Hell
like
yeah.
this kind of rules. Like there's a level on which this rules. And I think that having this weird location agnostic cyberpunk version of travel where travel becomes like how is this bowl of oatmeal going to transport me to eternal ecstasy this morning? It's like, yeah, it's weird. I feel like everything it becomes more meditative by necessity because we're lacking those experiences that transport us, and so we seek it in other things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are experiencing sort of microcosm of this when it comes to their commute, people who lost a commute. Just that, because again, I think you're totally right where the association with travel being the moment where you are like, I think it's a lot to do with what you're saying, where it's you're out of your especially on vacations, you're out of your routine, but it's not about the routine really. It's about you shaking you I don't know, seeing it with a slightly different lens. But the other thing I always think about the commute stuff is that it's kind of like dead time. It's like life's loading screen where you actually don't have to do anything. You don't have to work or you don't have to do anything at home. And it allows you like a cognitive bubble to just kind of play in. And sometimes you just make new routines like, oh, I always play my Switch on the bus home, or I always listen to a podcast or something like that. But like I remember the amount of times that I would drive a different way home from work. And like a lot of times it was just picking a different, traffic queue to be in. But even just doing that was enough to just, it wasn't about that journey either. It wasn't about where I was going. Sometimes I go up in the hills and that was because I wanted to see something else. But it was just like rattling your brain out of whatever sort of pattern it was in. But yeah, it's funny. I'm interested in that whole idea of, if it is just a matter of perspective, which like basically most of the way we think and do things is kind of.
Yeah.
Like
well,
how do you shake out of that? Like how do you have your breakfast every morning the exact same way, but it feel different?
Yeah. That's like the ultimate goal, right? Like if ever there were like an enlightenment, wouldn't enlightenment be like every time I wash my hands, I'm lost in the ecstasy of the warmth of the water and the smell of the soap, and like these little microcosmic glimpses of bliss that like sneak into these weird mundane experiences. And like our brains are also, what our brains do best is pattern making and pattern finding. And so that's why like there's a lot of medical literature that suggests that different mental health disorders are sort of based in hyper pattern, like too much pattern making, too much like residual grasping to patterns,
like autism and stuff. Yeah.
Like OCD and depression, especially, right. Where you just like the idea that you're stuck in a rut, right? And so there is clinical evidence that suggests that, just like you said, like taking a different route home, driving a different way, having a different thing for dinner, shopping at a different grocery store, these things that seem so small and like you can't even project the significance that they imbue your experience with because they seem so small. But when you break those patterns, like it feels very significant in the way that like we like patterns, but I think what we fear pattern breaking, but we like it more than patterns. And so it's like when you're listening to a song, right? What you like about that song is that it's like, oh, it's like the pattern. It's like dun 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 dun, and you like that, and then it does something different, and you're like, oh, all right, like a new pattern. And so I think we fear pattern breaking, but I think it's the thing that frees us the most in some capacity.
Do you think this is this why I like drinking?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like there are, I think that's why humans gravitate toward altered states of consciousness, or right. Like animals in general. Like animals love drinking. Well, animals eat fermented fruit intentionally. Like animals will seek out fermented fruit to alter their consciousness. And then there are like reindeer eat Amanita muscaria mushrooms and get like super incapacitated
God.
and stuff. So there's all these examples in nature of like seeking out altered states of consciousness. And I think it's that like our default mode of consciousness is very good at habitual pattern making, because that's how you survive over the course of thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
So just breaking it up is like, it feels good.
Holy shit. Well, it's broken me out of my pattern. So let me get back to the script I have in front of me for this podcast.
Bring me back on the rails.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to sort of chew on there. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about that for the next couple of hours. We're going to go to community stuff in a hot second, because taking all that knowledge we've just sort of accrued or shot the shit about, I want to dive into some of these ones. Yeah, Frank, feel free to pick out some of the best ones here, and we'll get into them in a second.
Yeah.
For the moment, though, I want to say, of course, all of our work, not just this podcast, but our documentaries and everything we do here at Noclip is supported by our amazing community over on patreon.com/Noclip. I wanted to plug some stuff that we have put up in the past week or so. There is a patron exclusive podcast we do. I might have some updates on some of the tier stuff in the next few days, because I think there's some news coming from Patreon today, which might make us shift around some stuff. But just to let you know that there have been in the past exclusive Noclip podcasts where we they're kind of like this, more community focused. Our quarantine catch up one is available in video and audio form. It's episode 29. So if you ever wonder why the episode numbers jump every now and again, it's because all those ones are on the Patreon feed. We also had early access to our Outer Worlds series, which is all done. Well done, everyone. Clap, clap, clap. Great shooting, Jeremy. Great gameplay, Frank. Awesome work. Great captions, Megan. She's not here. Thank you so much. It ended up being like 2 hours, 20 minutes or something. 2 hour, about 2 hours worth of doc. We are still putting up a bonus video from that series. So if you're a $5 patron, you'll get access to that. We also have behind the scenes goodies. I dropped Jeremy's PC off earlier last month, and we recorded that and put that up as well. The first time I've seen Jeremy physically in over a month. You smelled great.
Thank you. You could smell me from that far away?
I can smell everything from infinite.
He is the one.
That'd be a really annoying superpower.
Yeah,
smell everything at all times.
I don't even think you could really leverage there. Pretty much every mundane superpower you could leverage for like either crime fighting or crime doing, and I don't think that one's really good for either.
No, that's true. You're right. It's funny, actually, isn't it? How like there's no like, what's a superpower somebody could have that is almost completely ineffective in the process of trying to apprehend and arrest criminals?
Anytime you encounter a person, you can feel the full weight of their emotions.
Oh my God. So you're
you're an empath.
So you're just self-quarantining then.
Yeah. Empathy man.
You live in a shack in the woods. So you fire your shotgun every hour so nobody comes near you. All those goodies are up for patrons. We have a Creative Assembly documentary coming next week. So if you're an early access patron, you're going to get that early. It is basically finished. Thank you so much to Chris Bratt for hosting that one. Jeremy, awesome filming in England. I wasn't there for that one. It was a dream to put it together. It's about 54 minutes long, I think. And if you are into Creative Assembly, like their strategy games, it's interesting. We cover Alien Isolation. We cover all the weird stuff. They started out porting like FIFA to PC and stuff like that. And perhaps the most interesting element of is that we interviewed, Chris flew to Tuscany with his partner to film an interview with Tim Ansel, who was the original founder, who was basically sort of ousted after he sold the company to Sega, and talk to him all about that. And it was absolutely fascinating. So if you want the sort of inside scoop on all that type of thing, he gets pretty raw about the whole thing. And we also covered the sort of maturation of the studio since he left. So it's real good. And we're working on the Arcane one at the moment, so that'll be coming later in the month. So loads of reasons to support us. Like I said, patreon.com/Noclip. We're basically entirely funded through Patreon. So every cent counts. So thank you all so much for keeping the doors on. That's not the phrase.
Keeping the doors on.
Keeping the doors on. I like that.
Man, if you don't pay your door bill, they come and they just rip it right off the hinges.
They have the crowbar will come and they'll.
It's gonna get super drafty in there.
What was I meant to say? Keep the lights on? Okay.
Keep the lights on. Yeah, I like doors on though.
Doors
Keep
on
the doors on the hinges, as they say.
Keep the doors on.
Frank, community
Yes.
person, go find us some submissions.
So today, this week's cheat code for the Noclip podcast was travel. We put it out on our last Patreon podcast update, as well as on our Discord. If you're a Patreon member, and we also put it on Twitter. So we have a few little anecdotes and stories from our lovely community. From our Patreon and Discord crew, Gabriel Costa wrote in and said, Final Fantasy 15 actually did a pretty good job of giving you the feeling of traveling with friends on a road trip. The game was far from perfect, but it nailed that and had some good moments. And
did you guys play that?
Yeah, and I think that that was exactly my experience, where I think universally everyone on Twitter, it was constantly people posting pictures of the boys taking selfies, going to diners, driving around. The actual story, I didn't care. I never finished it, but I did all of the side quests, hunting monsters and stuff. So yeah, but you drive around in a car, you can change the music. It was goofy and lighthearted. It was very much like desert road trip with friends.
That reminds me of when the crew first came out. I did a video with, who was it? I think it was me, Ty, and Andy Bauman in GameSpot, where we did, because you can drive, it's all of America, but it's it does take a while to get across the country, but we drove from the East Coast to the West Coast on a road trip, and we passed Salt Lake City, which is where Andy's from, for instance. And that was a fun video game road trip. I never done. Did you ever play 15, Jeremy? You're a Final Fantasy fan.
I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I did not play 15, but I definitely, just from existing in the world, got such a sense that the food and place and little minutia of that game was sort of one of the major focuses of it, just through other people's posts about it.
That's a good one. I like that.
And then we have another from Frank Rooney. They said, we'll have to say Outer Wilds. I only started playing this lately after seeing you mention it. It's such a great game. I wish there were more games like this. I definitely wanted to mention it because we do have the Outer Wilds doc. But yeah, because of you, Danny, I played it. I feel like so many people. And yeah, that game is all about the exploration. And it's so fun seeing little aliens and cozy campfires and playing the banjo. Such a delightful, and you can kind of beat that game in a weekend. It's a delightful weekend space road trip.
Yeah, that feels like the road trip of a life. Is what that game kind of feels like, where it's because it is very much about life and death as well. Mm-hmm. So and experiences, individual experiences, and shared experiences. But yeah, you can totally tell those people are cut from the same cloth as Jeremy, because you can tell that they were basically inspired by that game because they love going out into the wilds and having these experiences. And I think that game is probably as close to that as I think I've ever experienced, even though it's thematically not really that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, go check out our documentary, youtube.com/noclip video. Yeah.
And then from the Twitter side, Danny, do you want to get these next two? Because I think these are both games you've
sure. Yeah. First one's from Jason Shamblin. Boy, I was born a shambling man. Sorry, Jason.
You're welcome, Jason.
I'm playing SnowRunner currently. Or as I've taken to calling it, truck standing. So as an aside, I can't stop calling this game Snow Patrol. My brain has decided that's what this is called. So if you don't know, SnowRunner is basically, I think it's made by the same people who did, was it Mud Runner? And I'd never played any of these games before. I remember, once again, funnily enough, Andy at GameSpot used to play a game called Spin Tires, I think. So basically, this game is a game where you have a realistic truck and you get stuck in mud. You have to travel to fix bridges and stuff by to having all of these trucks, and they get stuck in mud and they get damaged. It's all about winching your car to a tree and driving up a hill sideways. It's so silly. It's a lot of fun. I've been playing it not much. I only got it yesterday. I think it's only on Epic on PC, and then it's on console. Anyway, Jason says, I found it far more satisfying to play than the game I based this pun on. Oh yeah. SnowRunner shares elements of discovery, orienteering, hazards, adaptation, and building, but makes that the focus. Yeah, it's very much about just the process of getting somewhere. It's like QWOP, but a truck, Or have you ever played My Summer Car? Or there's a bunch of these games that came out where they were kind of you had to tinker with your car and put it together and then go on a road trip. There was one called Jalopy, which came out. Yeah, it came out a few years ago, and it was basically you and your dad. It was set in it's set in a Soviet country, or maybe just a post-Soviet country, and you have to take your dad on a road trip, and it's very minimal and like Eastern European looking, and you go on this trip together and you stay in a hotel and you're with this like banger of a car which needs constant tinkering. It's so much fun. That's a real road trip game. I hadn't thought about that in a while. Thank you, Jason, for that. And then our good friend Tohir Taliev says Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe it's the 30 plus father of two in me, but on Friday night, family asleep, I'm sitting at my console with a beer and just going for a ride in RDR2. It felt great. Camping in the field, cooking over a fire, watching the stars. Man, that game is something. Yeah, we and Jeremy have talked a bunch about Red Dead on the podcast before and the sort of different ways we enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it. But I think one area I'm really connected to Jeremy on is that the elements of this game that I've enjoyed the most have actually weirdly been since I've completed it. And not to like spoil the ending or anything, but you can continue playing that world after the fact. And I, oddly enough, also through quarantine have been basically trying to like 100% it by doing all of the like, you know, you've like a booklet of objectives, like silly things like, you know, kill 3 rabbits perfectly and, you know, rob a stagecoach and, you know, rob 3 places in one day or go for a camp or, you know, so I've been doing all these like, I don't know what you'd call them. They're kind of like orienteering quests or just like fun little day trips. I spent maybe the first 2 weeks of quarantine playing a lot of Red Dead. So I can vibe with that.
Side note, I think Killing 3 Rabbits Perfectly was the name of Charles Manson's autobiography.
And then crucifying them outside my neighbors.
Yeah, that was a horrifying. For some reason, that phrase really terrified me when you said it. Chilled me to the bone.
Awesome.
All right, you want me to read this next one?
We had a Jeremy submit it, so I thought better.
Excellent. I just want to put it on the record that Jeremy submitted this and Jeremy's reading this, but I did not submit this. Although next time I will submit questions anonymously for myself to read. I have had several moments where friends have posted vacation photos and I thought, oh, I climbed that building in an Assassin's Creed game. Boy, I should really get out of the house one day. But I do love visiting such faraway lands, real or created, in my games.
Yeah,
I've totally had a bunch of moments like that. In fact, the first time I visited San Francisco when I was maybe 12 or 13, me and my brother could not stop identifying parts of the of Fisherman's Wharf from one of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. And so like everywhere I go, like every major city, I feel like Tony Hawk Pro Skater has given me a few things to look for.
Yeah, the first time I was in America, I walked to Venice Beach. I was staying near LAX and I went down and I guess I walked halfway and then realized it was really far and then hailed down a cab. But yeah, it was the first place I went was the skate park there, which was pretty cool because of Tony Hawk as well. It's that's wild.
It's iconic. And then we have one more from Alan Harold. They wrote in, on the rare occasions we would travel as kids, sometimes the hotel rooms we would stay in would have little controllers plugged directly to the TVs. I always wanted to play those games there, but my mom would never let me because I caught extra money. I wonder what games are on those.
It was porn, wasn't it?
That was the other channel. But I totally remember this because like as a kid, my dad loved like taking vacations, so we would go a lot. And like specifically like Vegas and Hawaii had those like these giant CRTVs with an N64 or a Super Nintendo controller like bolted on or whatever. Yeah. And it was like, and it would be like, I think it was like maybe $5.99 an hour. And this is like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, like $5.99 an hour or something. No, I think I can't remember the cost.
That's so funny. People complain about Xbox Live being
right. Yeah, it was, but I loved it because I think that's where I fell in love with Final Fight. Final Fight for Super Nintendo was always on there, and it's now one of my favorite games of all time. I have the poster above my PC. Like I love Final Fight, favorite beat 'em up. But every hotel in the world would have like the Super Nintendo TV with Final Fight. I think Street Fighter Blackthorn was on there. Like they'd have random games there too. So it was like having like Game Pass. Where okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of this. What the hell is this game? What is this game? So it'd be a cool way to sample stuff. I think the N64 TVs had Mario 64, San Francisco Rush, maybe Pilot Wings, but it was a fun way to demo games that I otherwise never would. And I'm curious,
and like, they were full games.
Yeah, they were like full games. So I'm curious, like how did the software worked on there? Were there ROMs?
Dude, that'd be an interest. If you could ever get in touch with the people who put those things into hotels, that is a documentary.
There you go, Alan. That's that really sparked it. Holy wow!
What was the one that Jonathan Blow mentioned in our Witness doc? He ported Doom to something really strange.
Oh yeah.
Was,
God,
was
so
that a
long ago.
hotel television thing?
Damn,
I think it might have
we gotta have a retro hotel TV. The hotel TV minis. They're
Yeah,
coming out.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Re-release the TVs are really this big. I remember playing. My parents would never pay the like $6 or whatever for me to play those games either, because they're like, we're at like, go to swim in the pool, you idiot. But me and my brother would like do the self-imposed like little brother player 2 thing where the controller is unplugged, and we would just like on the screen they'd be like, this is what Contra looks like. It'd be like, I'm playing it, and we would just like mash the buttons. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just had like a weird vivid memory of trying to like sync up what I was doing on the controller with what was happening on the screen in some vain attempt to seize control of my life.
We didn't have those when I was growing up, or maybe they're just an American thing. But the thing that reminded me of on the vacation thing was like, we didn't really have arcades in Ireland. Like we kind of had arcades, but they were not really video game arcades. They were just kind of like fun fair arcades, and they'd have like maybe one or two or a couple of games in them, but like not that many of them. So I remember whenever we go on holidays, the first time we went on holidays abroad, we took a ferry to France, and our little, like, we stayed in a camp, like a tent site in Normandy, and they had like a building where there was like food and bathrooms and stuff, and they had a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet in it, and I'd like never played that before. And we went on another holiday, there was an actual sort of like pretty good arcade in the hotel we were staying in, or beside it, in Portugal, and that was the first time I played like Sunset Riders or Final Fight. Was the first time I'd seen that, or the Simpsons 4-player thing. A lot of that stuff. And some of these were games that were on Nintendo, but we grew up with Commodore, so we didn't see most of these. Did you guys ever have that, like when you went to on a vacation somewhere, there was like an arcade machine there that you just ended up spending all your money on?
There was me and my family used to, so I grew up in northern Massachusetts, and we used to go up into New Hampshire. There's like a bunch of lakes and stuff up there that we'd go to these little hotels and swim at and stuff. And there was an arcade that was kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese's, but not like as like sleazy, not as rat casino oriented. But there was the Simpsons 4-player game, and my parents didn't even let me watch The Simpsons when I was that little, but we'd always play the Simpsons 4-player game for some reason. And I have this very distinct memory of like, every time we'd go up there, like me and my family would play it. A little side note, there was also a bar called the Broken Antler that we look back on sometimes that had like, I can't remember what it was, but like, was it Area 51, the game that was like the light gun game?
Yeah.
They had Area 51, and it was when you could smoke inside. So I was like 5 years old, and me and my brother would like play Area 51 through a haze of cigarette smoke from all these bikers who were around, and we just I had this very distinct memory of playing Area 51 in a haze of cigarette smoke.
God, to bring it all around, I mean, I have very distinct memories of being in an arcade in Japan only 2 years ago, and there being cigarette smoke everywhere. So yeah, futuristic.
Brought me right
ways.
back.
Exactly, right? Yeah, God knows when we'll be back, but we can always.
Sometimes
play.
I don't even smoke, but I just light a cigarette, just throw it in my room, and play some video games. You know,
that's a fire hazard, I think.
No, it's worth it.
Did Smokey the Bear not tell you about this on all your trips to the wilderness?
Smokey the what now?
That's a podcast for this week. Almost. We got some housekeeping, and then we have to pick our cheat code for next week, gentlemen. This should be fun. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it is at Noclip Video. You can follow us on the social medias as well. It's at ADAC Music. That's ADACK Music for Jeremy. At Frank Howley for Frank, and at Danny O'Dwyer for myself. We have a bunch of stuff. Like I said, our Creative Assembly documentary is coming in a week's time. It'll be out on Tuesday. We're probably going to put it up midnight Pacific, I think, so we can get it up in the morning for the British crowd, since it is a British documentary. Kind of feels right. We'll have some teasers of that this week, along with Arcane teasers throughout the month. And we haven't really talked too much about the Arcane stuff, and kind of by design. It's going to be pretty wild once that we put that out. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So if you're interested in the history of Arcane, we covered the history of Arcane, and we're going to have some really, really interesting stuff in that documentary later this month. On my personal channel, I've been playing through Black Mesa as well. So if you want to check that out, youtube.com/Danny O'Dwyer, and the WoW Pilgrimage video is up there too. Gents, do you have any work outside of this stuff, Noclip stuff that you want to pimp out there?
I have been this quarantine has had the silver lining benefit of sort of reigniting my love of making music. I feel like having just a lot of time to dedicate to focusing on music and refining my process has been like a really healthy thing for that. I'm often very hard on myself about my creative output, but, like including the Noclip stuff. Like I'm never happy with the color grade, no matter how done it is. But I think I'm going to release some music. I think I'm just going to say, screw it, and just put some music out. So
awesome.
Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, that'll be rad. At ADAC Music. And yeah, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/Noclip. We are entirely funded and have been since the start by the good people of the world, about 4,000 and change people who have been keeping us running, keeping the lights on, and
keeping the doors on,
and the lights open. And we're really... appreciative of your support, and if you enjoy our stuff and you'd like to help us out, then we'd really appreciate it. Gentlemen, it's time to pick a cheat code for next week. I've thought long and hard about the process we should do this, and what I have come up with, I hope you don't mind, I've taken it on myself to decide this, because I thought this would be really funny, is I have found a website that creates a random word. It's just a random word generator. I'm going to run it 3 times.
Okay.
And we all get a vote.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then we can.
I hope this backfires magnificently.
I have run this thing so many times. Every time it creates something that I think is hilarious and either immediately reminds me of something to do with games and movies, or it's just so ridiculous that I'm like, how the fuck will we ever talk about this? So I'm gonna run it 3 times. Okay. Roll 1. Ooh, Jesus, that's heavy. The first one is separation.
Oh no!
Okay.
I thought travel was on the nose.
All right.
The next one is chauvinist. That could be fucking heavy.
Oh my god!
And the third one is, God, I hope the next one's a bit more optimistic.
The next one is going to be like miasma.
Ennui.
Yeah.
Okay, cross your fingers. The third one is ground.
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 Ooh, ground is a good one because it has a few different like interpretations.
Yeah.
Like grounding versus the ground.
Some separation, chauvinist, and ground. I'm just gonna personally say I don't really want to tackle chauvinism.
Yeah, that's heavy for It's too close to home for this current time in the world. I'm gonna say ground. Okay,
Jeremy, or sorry, Frank.
Yeah, separation's so strong. I already have I have such a random game to think of for ground. That's like, I feel like ground. That was the first thing that popped up. Separation though, like that's almost like one I wanted to tackle on later.
Danny, I think we should have you be the tiebreaker because I think separation and ground both have their different directions, but they're both good ones.
I think I'm with you on separation. Feels like I don't necessarily want this podcast to really be a downer for everyone every week. It feels like a little bit too much, and I think the creative part of my brain likes the idea of ground, because I think no matter what we get from ground, it's going to be novel. Like I can imagine, everything from, I don't know, Minecraft comes to mind, or like, I don't even want to say actually, because we'll take it in a direction.
A game. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go ground. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, next week's cheat code is ground. If you want to send your stories about ground to us, we'd love to hear them. podcast@noclip.video. You can hit us up. We'll put up a post a couple of days before the podcast on our Twitter as well, @noclipvideo. You can reply to it there. Frank, did you have something?
No, I just remembered my all-time favorite Counter-Strike map, so now I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this week's theme. Okay.
Was it Scouts Ground, is it?
DE chauvinism?
No, it's different. Oh, man.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Gents, thanks so much. What are you guys doing for the rest of your day?
Later tonight, Audrey and I are going to be streaming Resident Evil 5. This is Wednesday, so it'll be in the past. But yeah, Audrey and I have been streaming Resident Evil 5, which is the best so Resident fun. Evil. It's so fun. It's so ridiculous. Like,
are you playing co-op?
Yeah, we're doing it. So that's the other thing too. Kind of tying the capping off again with travel. we are bummed because around this time we always so my girlfriend lives in Canada in Montreal. I'm in San Diego, California, but we will always travel one another, usually like every 2 months, have a little mini vacation, and we're around the time where one of us goes to see another and we can't, so we are just pulling all our extra time together, streaming and doing co-op games, watching stuff through Discord. So like it's interesting taking these like virtual dates every night or every weekend, just like let's try a new game, let's try a new movie. So we've been I'm taking her through the Resident Evil co-op experience, which is fun. So yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil 5, and then also for Arcane, I can't wait to try out Dark Messiah. I'll be doing some game capture. That game looks sick. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you're off the hook. You don't have to play any more real-time strategy games for a while. Frank played I have a lot of capture of Total War games, which Frank did.
Dude,
having never played any of those games before.
I didn't even mention it, but studying all the Total War games, it finally got me to watch Ken Burns' Civil War. It just like put me in the mood to like, all right, let's take a look at all this. Let's do it. And studying the Civil War helped me out with Total War, so I understood. Yeah, I understood.
Frank's gonna turn into like some sort of like weird like proto-fascist now.
Yeah, Frank, when you raise an army, I'll be first in line to.
Jeremy, what are you doing for the rest of your day?
I'm gonna force myself to go for a run so that my body doesn't turn into a strawberry smoothie like consistency, and then I'm gonna force myself to meditate because pattern breaking, as previously established, is important, and it's you gotta have a routine to break your routine up. And then I will probably work on some music and try to thrive in the end times.
Nice, yeah, good shout.
What about yourself, man?
I'm gonna play some. What am I gonna play some of? Maybe some Black Mesa later. I have to edit. Creative Assembly's doc is in that 99% finished annoying phase where you just kind of have to keep watching it and taking notes. So I'm going to do one more of those. But basically the final version is done. I think I'm going to send it to Megan for captions and put it up for early access people and then kind of maybe push out a new version. I've shifted my work week. So I now work, my weekends are Friday, Saturday. So, cause then I can take my wife and kid, we can all go for like a walk in the woods on a Friday and there's like no one there. It's easier. So I'll probably do some stuff Sunday, but yeah, got therapy today as well. Wednesday's my therapy day, so
nice.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. I'll just leave this. Maybe we'll talk about it some other time. But I've been suffering a little bit for the past like 2 weeks. Have been starting getting hard, and I just decided, just fuck it. I'm just going to do keto again because last time I did that, it made me feel so much better, and I feel like embarrassingly better. Like I think I just have a gluten intolerance or something. I need to go to a doctor after this because there's like a bunch of mental health stuff and like my general bloatedness and like energy and like sleep. Everything has just like gotten better, and I haven't entered ketosis yet. Like I'm only on like day 4, so like It's like after a day, and all I was doing was eating. Like I was making potatoes and rice and chilies, and like I've been making all my dinners here, as we all are, kind of in this reality. And like not eating amazingly well, but like eating decent. But I don't know what there's definitely something up. Like I don't know what it is, but I swear to God, I feel like so much better. So
wow,
yeah, it's really strange. I think I have something that I don't know about that's still undiagnosed, and I need to figure it out. So hopefully that'll keep up. But I'm feeling really good. So
glad you're feeling good, man.
Thanks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I hope you guys are feeling good. I hope everyone listening is feeling all right. If you're not, break the cycle, do your best, and know that everyone's shouting for you. And we'll be back next week to talk about fucking
ground, dude.
My favorite electrical wire. We'll see you there.